Hi everybody, I'm Elisaveta. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Um, I'm happy to start these little talks on topics that are I'm coming across through teaching and just talking to people about tango and about social dancing. And so if you have things to contribute, or if you have questions that you would like my opinion on, feel free to post it in the comments. My most recent question that I got that was really interesting, that I didn't get to explore in depth in the class, was a question of how to get more dances as a follower. And it's a really big question. There's so many components involved, and it will be slightly different for everyone. But I do want to acknowledge that it's an important question, because when we go dancing to a milonga, there are very few things more annoying than to be all dressed up and to want that experience of connecting with other people, and to have these great dances and then leave dissatisfied. That's It's really hard. It's really hard to experience those feelings. So it might be the reason for a lot of people to decide not to go dancing at all. So I don't know necessarily the answer to the particular situations that I hear about, but I wanted to talk a little bit about my own experience and share some of the things that have helped me to become more confident and more satisfied in my experience in a milonga. I started out as a very, very insecure dancer. My very first experiences in tango classes, I was terrified of looking at myself in a mirror, and I had very low self-esteem, and I was prone to social anxiety and panic attacks. I was kind of a mess, and so I somehow ended up at a tango festival in Istanbul, and I was so nervous at this one milonga. So this big milonga in Istanbul, and tons of people, and this really just amazing venue. And I was really overwhelmed, and I was not getting dances, and I was so scared, and I was mostly kind of hanging out at the back of the room, and I was just in this like total state of panic for quite some time. And I have this memory of standing by a wall and just kind of being involved in my mind with this thing about like how I'm not getting any dances, and I'm really bad, and nobody knows me, and I'm not good looking enough, and nobody's gonna dance with me. And it just like kept going on and on and on. And the more I thought about that, the worse it got. And eventually something inside my head just kind of, I don't know, like caught my attention, and there was this sense of like, you know what, I think I just need to stop thinking these thoughts. Like, nothing's gonna change in what I'm experiencing right now if I don't change my thoughts. And so I kind of just let myself go there. And so I have this interesting insight for a few seconds, really. And within like a minute, suddenly a friend of mine comes over, and she has this really wonderful dancer with her, and she's like, oh my God, you have to meet blah, blah, blah. And here I am dancing with this beautiful stranger who's like really, really good. And it was a really, really interesting experience to have that happen so quickly, where I really saw that you know, whether one caused the other, I don't really know. Of course, this is all subjective experience, but I did start asking myself, I wonder how much impact I'm gonna have on my own experience if I just paid it more attention to what I think about when I'm wanting something, when I'm wanting more dances at a milonga. So since then, I really, in my own experience, I have not found a time where this does not work. I always, my strategy is always to really sense what my attitude is when I go to a milonga. And in Buenos Aires, it became very acute that if I was having a bad day and I was feeling really shitty and I was just annoyed with everyone and I was uncomfortable, if I went to the milonga with the intention of recovering my day, and I'm going there and I'm thinking, oh, I just want that one good tanda, or if I could just like, if so and so is there, I really want to dance with him, and I'm afraid he might not, but like if I have that attitude, I would have the worst night. Like I eventually would get to the milonga and then just like would see the trend and I would just leave. I just knew it wouldn't turn around. But on days that I felt really good about myself and for whatever reason, I would go and I didn't care. I didn't care about anything because I was just happy being in Buenos Aires, and I was really loving the music, and maybe I was particularly loving what I was wearing or something, and my friends are there. And then instead of like that mindset of like I'm not getting enough, I'd be thinking things like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I don't even know like how much more amazing can it get. This is like all of these things are happening. They're so amazing. And if I thought that like there would be like even more amazing stuff happening, like even more, like my own mind would be blown, right? And so there's definitely a connection between how we feel about ourselves, how we approach the milonga space. Are we, am I going to the milonga to make myself feel better? Am I going to the milonga because I start out with the feeling of lack and I want other people to make me feel better? Or, do I go to milonga because I'm trying to prove myself to someone? So for me, the attitude that really has become my go-to, because that attitude is, it's like, it's very simple. It's kind of cheating in a way, because it's not like, it puts me in a mindset where it doesn't matter if I get dances or not, right? And the attitude is just, this is not rocket science. I'm not the first to say this, but just the attitude of appreciation of what's happening. So that's my go-to attitude that I seek. So I ask myself, okay, I'm here right now. What is my experience offering me that I can enjoy, right? If I'm not dancing, what is it that I can enjoy right now? Maybe it's a conversation with someone. Maybe it's me just sitting and listening to the music and really enjoying that. A lot of times me just sitting there and enjoying myself, other people will respond to that and people will ask me to dance immediately. That seems to happen quite a bit, right? So, or sometimes it won't be a dance. Sometimes it will be like a very engaging conversation with somebody that I would not have had if I was dancing. So part of me is like, wow, I'm really glad that I'm not dancing right now. So that's my go-to. Is there something that I can enjoy right now? That's very helpful. Usually most of my discomfort or my disappointment with my experience gets resolved if I can tap into something that I can enjoy. But there are nights when that doesn't work, okay? Maybe not only is it that the music's bad and the sound is bad and it's too cold and maybe there's not enough dancers or your friend didn't show up or you don't feel good about yourself, you had a hard day, your body hurts, whatever. Sometimes it just doesn't work. And in those times, it's really important for me to give myself a way out and to say, you know what? I'm just not supposed to be here. I think there might be something else that might feel better. Obviously, I'm not getting whatever it is I want out of my experience right now. I'm not getting the dances. So, what else is there? What else could I do? And of course, your mind at first, maybe, you had built up so many expectations about dancing, and it's very disappointing. But ultimately, it's not. It's always the case. Everybody experiences it. It always ebbs and flows. It doesn't matter how big the community is or how many great dancers there are. It's just scale, right? So even when I was living in Buenos Aires, some nights I go are amazing. Same venue a week later, they don't even remember who I am, and I'm like not dancing at all. So I really want to just kind of encourage you to and just to say that there's nothing that you're experiencing that is not part of already, like, everyone else is experiencing the same thing. And the more we can just support each other, the more we can find fulfillment in different ways, the better it is for everybody. Everybody, it brings a lot of support to you and the community. So I think that's all I have to say about that now. I'm realizing there's a lot of different dimensions to this conversation. So if you feel like sharing your perspective about maybe you had that similar experience of, like, you started out and you weren't dancing a lot, and then somehow you figured out ways that helped you to get more dances, please share in the comments, or if you have other questions. I definitely would love to hear from you, and I'm really grateful for you being here with me, and I guess till next time, ciao.